To set up your portal, you need to log in to the portal, and then you need to go to the setup menu. Now this brings up a bunch of tabs along the top here. So the first tab is company info. You're going to put in your basic company information, although most of this information should already be in here when you first got set up. Now I'm going to choose a file for the logo. See, as it shows my logo up here at the top left, that's also the logo that shows up on e-contracts. So you need to choose a file in this PNG format. You need to have that so you can actually have the e-contracts have your logo on there. So you would choose file, you would find one, it would have to be PNG, so this one wouldn't work if I tried to do it, and then I would click upload doc and it would put in my new logo, and it'll show up here at the top left and be on the e-contracts. Let's go to the next tab. For states, you need to select all the different states you work in. It looks like I've already selected a bunch of different states I work in. So let's say now I'm all of a sudden going to work in Georgia. So I click Edit next to Georgia. And then I come over here and click Active. Now if I want to put in my license number, who my qualified manager is, renewal date, tax exemption number, and if there is sales tax, you can put that in. Most of that's for future use. For now, what you need to do is make sure that you click Active, then come back over here to the left and click Update. And now Georgia is active for me. Next I'm going to go to the Integrations tab. This is a very important tab for you, the Integrations tab is. Now this is where you actually set your usernames and passwords that you'll want to pass through. So here we have company name. Let's pretend like I use alarm.com. So I'm going to say my alarm.com in-house account. It looks like I've already put that in, so I had to check active and put in my username and password for my in-house alarm.com account. And then I would click save. Next, I would want to have it for alarm.com SEP. Obviously, Security Equity Partners gives you a separate login to alarm.com that you'll use that for your alarm.com accounts when they're Security Equity Partners customers. So on here, I would put in my username, I would check active, I would put in my password, and I would click save. And now I'm able to activate sell units on my Security Equity Partners customers. Another one that's really important for you to do would be for your central station. Security Equity Partners works with a lot of different central stations, and you might use a different one for your in-house accounts. So let's say that I use COPS monitoring. So I'm going to come over here to COPS monitoring. Now you have to put this one in a special way. Make sure you read any instructions that we have for you. Let's say active. Let's say that I use the username being P006 and the password. I type it in and then I hit save. And then I'm integrated with COPS monitoring. Then I've also got my COPS SEP account. So that's just for my in-house COPS monitoring. Then I've got to make sure I do it for my COPS SEP accounts. Let's say that it's the same one. So I do the P006 and then type in my password and hit save. And there it is. Now I'm integrated with COPS monitoring for my Security Equity Partners accounts and for my in-house accounts. Another one that you might want to do is NMI Merchant Services. We're integrated with NMI. If you use them for your merchant processing, select active, put in your username, put in your password, save it, and now you would be able to activate new billing subscriptions and one-time charges for customers for anything that uses the NMI platform, like Platinum Payment Systems, for example. So if you use them for your merchant services, you can bill your in-house customers automatically using One Stop Portal. Here we go. Now let's go to the Equipment tab. So from here, I'm going to tell it all the different brands of equipment that I use. Let's say I use 2GIG, GE, Honeywell, Napco, Kwikset. But wait, I also want to use Schlage. So I'm going to go ahead and click Schlage, load equipment. And there it brings up all the pieces of equipment in our database. So I've already selected active on a bunch of these things. I'm going to come down here. I want to say that I'm going to look for Schlage. Here's all the Schlage stuff. So let's say I want to use all of these different pieces of equipment. So I'm just going to select active on them. And then these will show up in my inventory tracking. And then I'm going to hit save. Good. Now that it's saved that in there, I'm ready to use those. But let's say that there's a piece of equipment that does not show up in our database, so you have to add it in custom. You'll notice that on the Equipment tab, there are two sub-tabs, Equipment and Custom Parts. So I'm going to go to Custom Parts. And there's the different custom pieces of equipment that I have. I have an in-house yard sign. I give it a SKU and the brand. So I'm going to tell it I want to add new. I'm going to tell it the description. Let's say this is I'm just going to give it something. I'm going to give it the SKU. And then I'm going to tell it what brand is this. Let's say it's Honeywell. And then I would click add new. And now that new piece of equipment is in there. So I need to go back to the equipment tab, and I would need to find that in the inventory thing and tell it active so that that will show up for me now. Next thing let's go to is central stations. Security Equity Partners works with a number of central stations, and then you for your in-house account might work with another central station. So we've just listed as many as we know of here. If you have a central station that does not show up on our list, please let us know and we'll add it to the list. So what you'll do is you'll tell it your dealer number with your central station and check active. So I'm going to go through. It looks like I've already done that with COPS monitoring. Let's say I do some of my in-house accounts with Dynamark, Legacy Security Inc., whatever central stations you use, you put in your dealer number and select active, and then it's done. Next tab is the funding sources. There's only two funding sources that we have in the portal. That's for Security Equity Partners and for your in-house accounts. So if you don't do anything in-house, then you'll just leave that blank and just do Security Equity Partners. If you do keep in-house accounts that you want to track through this portal, then make sure you check them both. This next tab is the payroll tab. This would take about a half hour to explain to you how to do payroll tracking. It's a huge setup. So what I'm going to do is show you how you will find the video for it. There's a separate video. I'm going to go over here to the far top right where it says help. And that's going to pop open a new tab for me. So I can watch the help video right here. So if I click see video here, it's going to show me the video of how to set up my payroll. Then I can also do access the help guide manual. You have a whole online manual for you too. So if you need to do the payroll tracking, if you want to do that, just watch that video and it'll explain it to you. Next tab is the employees tab. So from here, I'm going to search for any technicians that I've got in the system, and it'll show me all my techs. Let me show you all of my sales reps. And now I'm going to add a new sales rep. Let's say I'm going to do a sales rep instead of a technician. So I click employee type. Is this an independent contractor or an employee? Let's say I pay my guys as contractors. Login role, since it's a salesman, I'm going to do sales. First name, Joey Shabadoo. Cell phone number. I tell it the cell phone provider because you're able to dispatch your technicians using this portal. So let's say that I say he's on the Cricket AT&T network. And then I've got to put in his email. And then I'm going to put in his username. This is what he's going to use to log into the portal. And then I can click add new, and it will put that salesman into the system, and he has a username and password so he can log into the portal as well now. So now let's go over to the next one. If you already have a bunch of your customers that you want to bring into the portal, then you can download our lead import template, and then you can go ahead and use this, you change it, or else if you exported your customers from OnGuard, you can also take that OnGuard sheet and import them into the portal as well. But let's say that we're doing a leads list. So I would say I downloaded the lead import template. I would put all my customers into the lead import template in the right order, and then I would click load, and then it can load all the customers in a big old amount right into the portal for you. The next tab is the CSID. We have a very powerful CSID tracker. The first thing you do is you need to have a profile for it. So it looks like I've already created one here for a bunch of different ones. So for SEP Legacy, I created this one. So this is for my legacy security customers. Security Equity Partners is the funding source. Here are all the different types of monitoring types I can use. And here are the different types of customers, like residential owner or commercial. Obviously, I can't do a residential renter with Security Equity Partners. Then I tell it all the different panel types that this CSID will work for, and I tell it all the different states that this CSID can work for. So I would do that by clicking Add New, and then I would give it a description here. I would tell it that I get a block of customer accounts for this. I'll tell it the central station. So let's say this one's for COPS monitoring. Next. Okay, this is for my security equity partners accounts. If I have a different block of CSIDs for my in-house accounts, then I'm going to keep it separate. So right now I'm just making a profile for my security equity partners COPS monitoring accounts, not in-house. I have to make a separate one if I do my in-house accounts. Now I tell it all the different monitoring types that this will work for. And then I click Next. Now I tell it the different types of customers this will work for, residential owners and commercial, because they don't take renters. Next. I can tell it that this can use any of these different control panels. Now that I've selected all the control panels that I want to use, I tell it Next. And I tell it all the states that this will work in. The reason why we have this is you may want to split up your CSIDs and say, I want to keep all of my California accounts separate from all my other accounts. So because I might want to sell off all of my California jobs someday. So I keep all the California jobs under one profile and all my Arkansas jobs under a different profile. Or if you don't care to do that, then just put all of the different states. And click Next. And there it gives me a little summary of what we've done, and I click Finish. And now I can go back to the CSIDs, and it brings up the two subtabs. So under CSID Setup, I now can see that I've got this new one that I just created right here. And so now I'm going to go over to the CSID Values. I'm going to add new because I'm going to add in some more CSIDs for that profile I just made. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say which profile. That's the one we just made. Say Next. I'm going to put in the receiver phone number because Alarm.com needs that information when you activate the Alarm.com unit. I'm going to put it in. You don't have to put anything in the backup receiver number, but if you want to have it there for records, you can. Next. I tell it the prefix. So let's say that all of my account numbers start with 87HU. Now they give me a block of 100 of them. The first one in it, let's say, is 5600, and it goes to 5700. They gave me 100 CSIDs. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Next to add all 100 CSIDs into the system. Gives me the summary of how many of them are going to be put in. I click Finish. And now let's go take a look. So I go back to CSID Values. There it is. Under this profile that we had made, we put in 87HU as the prefix. We put in 5600 through 5700. There's a total of 100 account numbers, and we have used none of them, so I have 101 unused. So those are ready for when I go to the customer account and I click Assign CSID, it'll just assign me the next one in the block, so I don't have to track them. And it'll also assign the receiver number to the account so that when I activate the Alarm.com radio, everything's in there ready to go. And that's how you set up the portal. Now make sure you watch our other video of how to set up a customer. Thanks for watching.